Gwinnett Medical Center is now entering Peachtree Corners. Conveniently located in the heart of this thriving community, our new center offers first-rate primary care and specialty services, including cardiology, gastroenterology, neurology, OBGYN, orthopedics, 3D mammography, and X-ray. Learn more about how GMC is making industry-leading healthcare more convenient than ever at gwinnettmedicalcenter.org/PTC.
What I find is it's helped me broaden and learn more from people. Where what happens when you're in your little focus and your head's down and you're running business, you surround yourself with people that think like you do because it makes it fast. And what I'm finding is it challenges me to think more out of the box and step back from things before I just go ahead and do the ready, fire, aim. It makes me say, wait a minute, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to do. And just as you were saying, is so many times you forget to invest in yourself. And you realize the cobbler's kids has no shoes. And it's the thing that I've learned is it gives me that of, you know what, I need to step back. I need to learn that technology. I need to listen. It's okay to take time to do this class or, go to this lunch or go to this thing. And for me, I have a bad habit of not giving myself permission to make the time.
You're with The Capitalist Sage, a twice-a-month podcast that seeks out entrepreneurs and experts that speak to the real-world life of doing business for their sage advice. Now, with your hosts, Karl Barham and Rico Figliolini.
Welcome to the Capitalist Sage podcast. We're here to bring you advice and tips from seasoned pros and experts to help you improve your business. I'm Karl Barham with Transworld Business Advisors, and my co-host is Rico Figliolini with Mighty Rockets Digital Marketing and the publisher of the Peachtree Corner magazine.
Hey, Karl.
Rico, how you doing today?
I'm doing just great.
Why don't we tell folks about our sponsors?
Absolutely. They just opened this week, Gwinnett Medical Center's primary care and specialty center here at Peachtree Corners. So they just opened on the just Tuesday, I think it was. Right?
Fabulous.
So they're joining this community. They're going to be providing premier services, and they are a sponsor of this family of podcasts, Capitalist Sage, Peachtree Corners Life. So I want to welcome them as part of that. So they've won. Atlanta Tech Park, of course. This is the place that we're doing this podcast out of. This is a great place. I mean, it's just phenomenal, the activity that's here, the amount of workshops, and there's something that's actually going to be staged tonight that's here also.
Yeah, they've got events here all the time. I think it's one of their cyber events today. Fintech
is coming soon.
And I think they have coming up Women in AI is coming up. And in a couple of months, they're going to have cryptocurrency workshops here. And if you're really interested, there is even a little bit of improv for professional free workshops offered every month.
Anyway, there you go. So this is a really hopping place and a great place to do these podcasts, which we do twice a month here. And as well, the third sponsor, well, it's more of a media sponsorship for us because we are a media sponsor for Smart City Expo Atlanta that's coming in September. It's the first North American expo, an offshoot of the Barcelona World Congress Expo that happens. And Curiosity Lab, Prototype Prime, will have, for the first time here, an off-site demo of the 1.5 mile stretch that's going to be the Autonomous Vehicle Lab. So we're proud to be a sponsor of the Smart City Expo Atlanta, and you can find out more information just by Googling that or going to smartcityexpoatlanta.com, and that'll take you to the right place.
For folks who don't realize about Smart City, if you think about what information and data through cameras and so on is able to do in the city, improve service, helps us direct traffic if there's an accident and so on. The companies that are leading in developing the technology for the next generation of city, they're coming into Atlanta, and we're being featured here at Peachtree Corners,
which is fun.
For that, which is fun and great to know.
Yeah, and that stretch of land, or at least up until City Hall, will be completed to a degree. So there'll be a lot of things going on the day of the first day of the expo. Yeah,
fabulous, and that's in September, right?
September 10th, actually 11th through the 13th.
Okay, fabulous, good. Well, today's guest is Lisa Proctor and Brad Kluesner from Peachtree Corners Business Association. They're here to talk to us a little bit about what these associations do to help local communities, business communities, the community at all overall. And we'll start off by just having you guys introduce yourselves and maybe some of the roles you play in the organization. Lisa?
Sure. My name is Lisa Proctor, and I'm the president of the PCBA. I started with the organization as a founding member when the organization was created in 2012, and volunteered to be the membership chair, and did that for a couple years, and then stepped into the role as president. So I've been doing the president role now for a couple years, and always love to continue to build and grow the talent in the organization.
Oh, fabulous. Brad, how about you?
Yes, a couple years ago, I joined the Peachtree Corners Business Association, and I just said to myself, I want to meet people who live and work and play here, and the best way to do that is I'm just going to go to every meeting every month. And I didn't know anybody, and eventually I knew one, and then another person, and then a year later, Lisa asked me to volunteer to be the chair of the community outreach, and so this is my first year on the board, connecting the businesses to the charities in the community.
Oh, you mentioned something volunteering on it. The organization, how is that structured around the membership?
The organization is all 100% volunteer, which it creates its own little challenges because trying to coordinate everybody's schedules and everything. But the great thing about Peachtree Corners and the greater metro Atlanta area is we actually recruit volunteers. And we say to people, you don't have to recruit or be part of the organization 100% every day, every month, everything. Tell us what you can do, but what you commit to, please do what you commit to. And if you can only do it for 1 month, if you want to be on a committee, if you want to just help check people in at an event, tell us that's what you want to do. We'd love to have your help. But that way, I think it's a great way for engagement. The reason I volunteered to do the membership is I have lived in Peachtree Corners for over 25 years. And because I work nationally and internationally with my day job, what happened is I discovered I didn't have children in school. I didn't know people. So it was a great way for me to get to know the community. So just sitting at the membership, checking people, seeing those faces together, getting to know people, kind of like Brad is saying, I'm going to the meetings, I'm learning who these people are. And I discovered I got to make some great friends and some great business associates just by putting myself out there and doing simple things. So I think that's the best way to do it.
I know for folks that work in large corporations and corporate environment, you build a social network within your company, and you can always tell it by LinkedIn. You'll see how many people they're connected within their same company. But if you're a small business owner, you don't have that advantage of all these people to be connected to. And so I could see how being part of a business association that gives you connection with other business owners that are like yourself is a good way to build your network around that.
It is. It's not only is it what you find is you don't have to have the answers to everything. You don't have to have all the solutions. You will meet people or you will get to know people that say, you know what, I have somebody you should meet. So it's not necessarily who you meet at the event. It's taking the time to get to know people who feel comfortable enough referring you to people that you need to know. And I think those are the best relationships.
Yeah, I would say, for me, good business starts with relationships where you trust somebody and you know them, and then they can help you or you can help them, and it just becomes a community of givers, really. And that's what I've seen.
So you're a great example of when you started started joining and being a member of the organization. Are there specific things that you saw it help you personally as you started venturing into your own businesses?
Well, for me, I was a little bit of the opposite, Lisa. I just moved here a couple years ago, and a lot of people are moving to the Peachtree Corners area. And you get here, and you didn't grow up here, and you don't know anybody. And so you want to know the leaders in the community. You come to these events, and you just start with a conversation. And for me, it became a home. I lived here first. I had a house, but then the Peachtree Corners Business Association made it a home and a community for me. And for a guy from a small town, that's important.
Where'd you come from?
I came from. I grew up in a little town called Jasper, Indiana, but I moved here from Indianapolis.
small town anyway, right?
Yeah.
Peachtree Corners, not too big. You know what I like about Peachtree Corners Business Association and some of the other, associations and chambers around the city, is that if you really want to, like you did, be involved, it's one thing being a member of an organization, so you feel like you're there, you show up at some events and stuff, you're fine, sort of doing your thing, but it's always better to be part of the group, and it does consume some time,
Right.
but it becomes fun, I think, and it also provides better connection to the group, to the leadership, let's say.
Absolutely.
That's out there.
Well, in fact, one of the biggest things is when people are saying, what organization should I join? And how do I decide? And what my first question to them always is, what do you want to get out of it? Why do you want to join it? Because if you just want to take and pay a check, we'll take your money. Happy to do it. But you're not going to, next year when it's renewal time, you might not renew because you didn't get anything. So come to things, get engaged in things. And we try and do events, different times of days, different kinds of things, just to say we're not going to solve everybody's schedule and we're not going to do all that. But we want you to feel comfortable engaging in what works for you.
You know what I find that since we started the magazine, this used to happen before too, but now with the magazine, where we approach businesses, new businesses, and some of the same questions. What do you think we should do to get more involved in the community? You would think they would know, but so you encourage them. So the first thing is you have the PCBA, you have the Southwest Gwinnett Chamber. Those are certainly the places you should join, and then they will help you get out into the community, because giving into the community is always the best way to reach the community.
Well, and I think you hit it also when you said with small businesses, one of the things that was really important to me when I started my business was part of our mission statement is to be very philanthropic in the communities, and we make donations in our clients' communities. But what we found was the outreach committee and having that part of the organization, that's why we built it, was a way for all the businesses to have a meaningful impact in the community. Because as a small business, I can't write a check to sponsor every single thing, the parade, the festival, the run for the corners or light up the corners, all these things. And here comes the high schools but the great thing is with the Business Association, we've donated over $75,000 back into the community since we created the committee in 2013 is when we created it. So, and you've seen it with being able to do like scholarships and things like that. As you look at that, what have you seen?
Well, every recipient has been so moved because the need is so great, and the nonprofits are in such tight budgets that they just say, anything you can do to help us, we'll appreciate it. And so we give them a voice in the community. We give them recognition by coming to the event and sharing their story, sharing some of the causes they're working with to the whole business community. And if you don't know what's going on, nobody's going to be able to help you. And so that has been very, very impactful for them.
When I talk with business owners, they're always asking about ways to improve their business. And one of the top things is always the top line and revenue, and how can I get more revenue? And I always explain to them, what are they doing to get more known, build awareness? And a lot of businesses have figured out how to use community involvement, charity, whether you're sponsoring a high school team, to help generate awareness for the product and services that they provide. What I like about these business groups and organizations, it gives you multiple ways to get in front of different, but they're also helping you vet the organizations that actually make more impact with each dollar that you donate or each in-kind service that you do. So you don't have to go and be a researcher to figure out, should I provide money to this cause or that cause? These groups have been there for years. They know the organizations and the types, and you could talk to them and consult and say, this is the kind of impact. It's education. Here are 4 ways you can give back to education.
Right. Well, in fact, it's so funny that you say that, because one of the things that I continue to find is I found there's so many great charities in Peachtree Corners or the greater Peachtree Corners area that support our community, and I didn't even know about them. I don't know if you did, but we started looking at the list, and I said, we're going to have to categorize them because they're getting so long on our website that all of a sudden you're like, I'm getting lost in the weeds. There's so many by the time you look at the schools and you look at, like the Assistance League. Most people didn't even know when they opened, and we did their ribbon cutting for the Assistants League. They've been in existence in the greater metro Atlanta area for years. I didn't even know what they were. And so it allowed me to say, oh my gosh, they do so many things and really help and do. And they're all volunteer as well. But it's just something to learn.
And what I love about the Peachtree Corners Business Association is you get to meet the leaders of these local charities and nonprofits. There's a lot of great causes nationally, and you probably send in money and you know you're helping a great cause. But at this, here in our community, the leaders come to the events and you know them, you know their character and you know their story, and they're helping your neighbors, and that's very powerful, and that's what I like.
I always like introducing the concept of every small business owner should have a board of directors. But the trick is people that could advise them on business. I have one area of expertise and Rico has another. And if you want to talk about marketing strategy, you want to talk about financial strategies or legal tactics, you want someone that you could have a conversation with. And most often you have to pick up a phone or Google and pay a fee. But part of these organizations allow you to build your own personal board of directors. There's people that have done what you're doing. They're 5 years, 10 years ahead of you. There's people with different subject matter expertise. And you can start forming those relationships where you can pick up the phone and say, hey, Brad, I've got a question about X, or I've got a question about Y, and they can have a conversation to see if you need further help, and they can help guide you with that. Is there any other advice that each of you can give to a person of something that they can benefit when they join organizations like this?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you have to have that relationship so you can pick up the phone. And, I met Karl at one of these events on a tour, and now I'm here at the podcast, and it starts with that relationship. And now you feel comfortable calling me, I feel comfortable calling you. But if you call me and I don't know, I might know someone in the Peachtree Corners Business Association that I met, had lunch with them too, and I think that is the real value of the association.
And what I find is if all you're going to do is just go to the event and do what I call the drive-by of the business cards, and you're handing them all out and everybody's doing, and then you never follow up or you never do those things. And it's getting to have those conversations that are the casual things, understanding what people do. It's amazing to me how many things that I don't even realize the number and depth of the connections I have. And somebody will say, I'm about to start this. And in fact, there's a staffing firm, and I won't tell you who, but she was saying to me, Lisa, I'm about to go after this in the market. And I said, well, let me just share my experience. I did the same thing. And if you do this better than me, let me know how that works for you. But I wasted a lot of time and got a master's degree on the street doing the wrong things. And I was happy to share that because I could tell she was excited about what she was doing and she was just ready to do. And she was going after the financial service industry. And I was like, that's very regulated, and if you're not that familiar with it, you need to know. So I think you're spot on with, people who are willing to give back to others. My natural tendency is I'm happy to give back because, you know what, somebody did that for me. I didn't learn all these things because I'm brilliant. I learned the hard way. But I had some great mentors and great leaders that helped me along the way.
You know what's great about that? I feel like, I love talking shop. So I love talking about business, about startups, because I feel when I see other people, especially younger people getting into the business and launching something, I feel like I want to help them. It's just like, because it's cool, it's exciting.
It is.
I've been there before, I've done different things. So that's what I find also in that network of business people. To be able to just talk shop sometimes and share what you just mentioned.
What I've also found is how much I can learn from them. Because when they tell me what they're going to do, what I've learned is I'll say, tell me why you're going to do that. And it's interesting to find out that I'm not always the expert. I don't always know anything. And sometimes when they tell me, I say, that's an interesting way. And so it's caused me to be more open thinking the other way and not just assuming that I am that person who knows and can do that. And it's been pretty humbling, especially when it comes to technologies and all the things, because I'll say, let me run this by you. I'm about to put this piece together for marketing. And they'll look at it and go, And I'm like, you don't think so? And they're like, well, it's probably wonderful, but I wouldn't use it, or I wouldn't read it, or I wouldn't do. And so I think that's the part that I love is having more of that ability to collaborate in a safe environment. And you don't always have to feel like you're the know-it-all of everything. You can actually ask other people very safely, even in your role as you're listening to them. I probably learn as much from listening and hearing what they're talking about and saying, what makes you think about that? Or just asking those questions and going, I was so busy doing all this, I didn't think about that. And that's a good wake-up call.
You're tapping into something when you think about just personal development.
Mm-hmm.
Most owners of business or anybody in small business, they thirst for development because they don't have peers that they can have conversations with. If most people report to them, no one's going to be frank with feedback on ideas. They're going to tend to want to agree. You're both in leadership roles within the organization. How is that helping you develop personally, getting involved in leadership?
Well, for me, I like learning from the mission-driven leaders of organizations. And so, we'll give a $500 check to a nonprofit, and then I'll try to follow up and go on a tour and see what the operations are like and see how that executive director is managing the people, sharing the story and the vision in the community. And I think to myself, what am I doing to make the community a better place? What is my personal mission? How can I help more people? And how can I collaborate with people around me like that person who's been doing it? And so I'm always trying to learn from others who are successful. And that's been one thing I've gotten out of it.
And what I find is it's helped me broaden and learn more from people where what happens when you're in your little focus and your head's down and you're running business, you surround yourself with people that think like you do because it makes it fast. And what I'm finding is it challenges me to think more out of the box and step back from things before I just go ahead and do the ready, fire, aim. It makes me say, wait a minute, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to do. And just as you were saying, is so many times you forget to invest in yourself. And you realize the cobbler's kids has no shoes. And it's the thing that I've learned is it gives me that of, you know what, I need to step back. I need to learn that technology. I need to listen. It's okay to take time to do this class or, go to this lunch or go to this thing. And for me, I have a bad habit of not giving myself permission to make the time.
Do you find that because, you're a small business. You're, how many people?
I have basically a staff of 3, and then I have some contractors who work with me for about another 4. And what helps me a little bit is I also happen to be part of the Sanford Rose franchise. So we have 100 offices, and I have 200 people that are there to back me up. But at the end of the day, it's still my P&L, what I've got to do, I've got to deliver. And so at the end of the day, yes, you're big over here, but yeah, you're pretty small over here.
And that's why I think that you have your head down, you're working, and because you're a small business, essentially, you do have to really work at taking that step back for a minute and saying, you know what, you're right, let's go to that dinner or let's do this thing, and not just...
Well, and I think that's what we find when we tell people you need that engagement, you need to give that time. I think with entrepreneurs, you end up wearing so many hats that sometimes you forget, wait a minute, I am supposed to be the leader. I am supposed to basically replenish my mindset and what I'm learning. And I can't do that if I can't get my head out of my computer or off my phone or, getting out and talking to people. And so it really, for me, that's when people say it's so much work. And I go, well, it is. But I rarely had anybody get me to do something I didn't choose to do. And so for me, it's a choice. It's not a duty, or I don't feel like it's something I have to do. I choose to do it because I see the value. And I do think it's helped me learn so much more. Look at how the city has grown in the last 7 years and all that's going on. And I don't know if I would have been as aware of this stuff if I hadn't been really on touch with it. And all I can say to people is plug in. There's some things I would not have known, that there's business opportunities in the future, but maybe it didn't give me that immediate sale. Or that I always say to people, because I work nationally and locally or internationally, I may not get a direct sale because I went to a meeting, but the relationships that I built were invaluable.
It's interesting if you think kind of individually the benefit. I've noticed at the state of the city, the mayor, there were a lot of people there learning, listening about the city. How does these business organizations like Peachtree Corners Business Association help influence policy, help give input from a collective voice to the leaders in the political sphere within the city? Because Peachtree Corners is going through a transformation, and it's growing, and there's a lot of interesting things. What role can PCBA have in that?
I think that's an awesome question. That's actually one of our founding principles of why we created the PCBA, is because it was unbelievable to me. 80% of the people who work in Peachtree Corners do not live in Peachtree Corners. So they can't vote in Peachtree Corners. So if they don't take advantage of the business association, we as an association don't always agree on every policy. But what we can provide you is you have those opportunities. Those city council, those mayors, we bring in speakers, we bring in a very casual business after hours speaker type thing where you get to know those people and you can actually talk to them and tell them what's important to you. And if you didn't have that forum, I don't know if you would ever really do it. It's amazing, like when you mentioned the state of the city. I'm not sure how many people in that room were business people versus community people. I was there and I went, but that's been always one of our challenges, is saying to the business people, plug in and know what's going on. They do listen. There's some real things. In fact, at the Lazy Dog ribbon cutting yesterday, one of the challenges Lazy Dog has is that they cannot serve food to the dogs, which is part of their business plan because of a Gwinnett County health code issue.
Georgia.
It may be also Georgia. I don't know how much, but as they were talking, the city council were there. They were actually talking to them saying, help us. We understand it's not just the city, but who do you know? And something that basic and that easy, when people are in the community getting to know each other, that's where they can have it. Now, whether that'll change or not, you don't know. But those things don't happen if people don't start those relationships.
It's funny, I think maybe all of us were at the State of the City, and you learn a lot of stuff that's going in, but I think you had a good point. The mix of business folks to folks that might just be more living in Peachtree Corners was nice to see the mix there, and some of the vision of the city really impacts and is centered around business. Is there an area that you're seeing in Peachtree Corners, we got local around, where we could do better when it comes to supporting the business community?
I was going to say, that's a great question. I think it continues to be the way that we try and communicate to the business community. The thing that I've run into, and maybe you've seen it as well, there's so many ways that people can communicate, but it doesn't mean they're actually engaged. So what I have found has been a big help to us has been the Peachtree Corners magazine, or doing podcasts, or doing different ways, because people learn differently, people communicate differently, and I think being open to whatever those ways are, provide the platform. So I think trying to figure out how we provide that, I think the town center, some of that central communication has helped, but we've got a long way to go.
And I would say that as a leader in the business community, take initiative. You know these causes are here, and take initiative and make a donation or volunteer. Don't just wait for someone to ask you, and then the event goes by and you say, well, nobody asked me. You're leaders, you're entrepreneurs. Take initiative and jump in.
Good. Well, I wonder what you got going on. I know there's lots of events that are happening there, and maybe just tease up a few events that people should be aware, how they could find out more about the events with the Peachtree Corners Business Association.
Absolutely. Our website is peachtreecornersba.com, and all of our events are listed out there. Probably a couple of the events that are nearest and dearest to our hearts is August 22nd. We have our annual charity event, and we are going to be doing Island Castaway Beach Party, Gilligan's Island style. And so their registration event is there. You can register for the event, find out the details. On September 26th, We're going to do business after hours at Anderby Brewing, which is our new brew pub in Peachtree Corners. And we're super excited. And then on October 24th, for those business people who need to build their personal brand, they get to come hear Greg Burkhalter, who is the LinkedIn guy. If you don't know who he is, don't miss out, because he can help you build your personal brand as well as your business brand. And we also have our coffees the second Tuesday of every month. Just very casual, very easy conversations like this. And you don't have to be a member to come. And then stay tuned for some of our upcoming business lunches. So we've got a lot of ways to do.
Fabulous. So if you're a business owner in Peachtree Corner, there's so many ways to get plugged in. And starting out with a small baby step, go to one of these events, meet Brad, meet Lisa, talk to them about it, meet some of your neighbors, and step up and be a leader in the community and get out there and get involved. So really appreciate. I want to thank both of you, for Lisa and Brad, for your time today and just helping kind of explore the different options around joining groups, being involved in the community, and how collective action in these business groups can really impact the community. We'd also like to thank Atlanta Tech Park for hosting the Capitalist Sage podcast. We enjoy our time here. Beautiful facility to visit and take around. I'd like to thank Brad for introducing me to Atlanta Tech Park a while ago. One of the many ways that these connections to these groups have helped me personally and just continue to develop the business. Rico, anything we've got coming up?
Short of the last issue that just came out, let me just put that right up here. Peachtree Corners magazine, which has covered this city's big video and film industry in the surrounding areas.
Great articles,
which is a 3-part article, so it was kind of neat to cover that. Plus, we covered a few other things like Anderby Brewery that just opened, which it has, I think, about 1,000 square foot event space. Also.
It does. That's why we're going to take it.
There you go. So there's that, and then Peachtree Corners Swim Team, first-time champions from Peachtree Corners for Gwinnett Swim. That happened just recently. So there's a bunch of things in here. 5 Norcross High School kids that are doing it big and out there in the world. One of them works for SpaceX actually right now. So kind of neat, and a lot of articles in here, especially about the Smart City Expo that's happening in Atlanta. So there's that.
And if you wanted to check out some of these things digitally, where would I find that?
Sure. So you would go to livinginpeachtreecorners.com. And if you go there, you'll find the digital edition of the magazine. You'll find, we post there every week, sometimes every other day, different articles on there. And you'll find all the podcasts there. So back history of these podcasts with Capitalist Sage, Peachtree Corners Life, and the stuff I do with Brian Johnson, city manager, which is that once a month prime lunchtime with the city manager.
So you can listen, you can read, you can go online, you can find out what's going on here. I'm Carl Barham with Transworld Business Advisor of Atlanta Peachtree. We help people, advise people on the best ways to understand the value of their business, and when they're looking to make a transition, we help them with that, finding both buyers and helping sellers with that. Enrico, Mighty Rockets.
MightyRockets.com. I do a lot of creative services, so anything that deals with social media marketing, online content, videography. I've been doing a lot of product videos lately for companies in Charleston and Kentucky, so that's been fun. And so a bit of that. I do a lot of creative services. Of course, the magazine also takes up a lot of time now too. So, but it's been fun in these podcasts. You're the heavy lifter on the Capitalist Sage, so it's been cool doing these podcasts.
No, absolutely. It's great to have great guests come in, local. Absolutely. You can find the folks in the community, say hi to them in Sprouts or Ingles when they're out and about, and set up a coffee and find ways to grow and improve your business. It's the Capitalist Sage podcast. We look forward to chatting with you some more with some future episodes. Have a nice day, everyone.
This has been the Capitalist Sage with Karl Barham and Rico Figliolini, the twice-a-month podcast with entrepreneurs and business experts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Want more? Visit our website at capitalistsagepodcast.com.